should just dwell for a minute on the difference between our accents. I say the many differences between our accents. If someone is just learning English, for example, are there any key words they should listen out for, or key sounds that really differentiate between us?
I think anything involving an R, because basically, I imagine if you've learned English as a foreign language, you've probably had to put a lot of effort into learning not to pronounce the letter R at the end of syllables, because I, having dabbled in various other languages, I can't think of a single other language that does this, where, so how would you say the thing that people drive around in?
Car.
Whereas I'd say car. It's not, I'm not saying car, I'm not rolling the R, but I am sort of articulating it. The same way as Americans.
Articulating.
Exactly. Same way as Americans would do. So yeah, I think that's a pretty key difference. There's also a place where I don't put an R, where you would, which is between two. So for example, the name Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson.
Yeah. So you're sticking an R in between those two words to sort of bridge between the two A's.
But I'm also not pronouncing the R in Anderson.
Yeah, there's no logic to it.
I've moved the R along somehow.
Absolutely no logic to it.
Well, I just think, if something ends in an A and then something ends in a vowel and the next thing starts with a vowel, it's just easier. Things run together.
It's just strange because it's not something that it doesn't feel awkward to me to say Pamela Anderson, to stop in the middle.
No.
It's just natural. But I think it's very, we say an apple, but a door. So it's quite normal in English. It's obviously a feature of English to stick sounds in to make, but it's just for whatever reason doesn't happen in Scotland, that Pamela Anderson thing.
And not everyone in England does that. But
oh, really?
No, because I think, I don't know, maybe actors have been taught not to do it. I sometimes, listen to audiobooks or watch things and people don't do that, because I've become very conscious of it now because...
But I hate that because I feel like you've stopped doing it, which I think is sad, because it's just and I don't even think that it's considered to be not posh or anything. I've heard really posh people do it. So yeah, I don't know what that's all about.
I think the thing that I've really made an effort is when something ends in a W. So raw edges. That's something they talk about a lot on things like sewing bee with the fabric. There's raw edges, but I would naturally say raw edges.
Yeah.
Which is just mad. It's just mad. Replacing a
W
with an R.
It's quite
raw
strange.
Edges. But I know what
I
mean.
I'm a big fan of just leaning into your own accent, because to be honest, I think there's things that I say that it's only because I noticed I was stopping saying them that I was like losing parts of my accent from living with an English person.
Don't lash out like that. It's not my fault.
Well, ever since, because we met at university, bit of backstory here. We met at university in England, so I've spent a lot of my time around English people or people with English accents, and I think naturally that has just sort of neutralised my accent a little bit, but I now make more of a conscious effort to hold on to things that are distinctly from where I'm from, just because I think it's more interesting if everybody doesn't just speak the same way. But in terms of differences between our accents, I think the letter R is a big one, but also certain vowel sounds. So the one that people always seem to laugh at when we were at university was how I say things like spoon.
Oh, cute.
So there's a supermarket chain that has the slogan "Good with food." Do they only use that in Scotland?
I'm not sure, but those two words rhyme in your accent, whereas they don't in mine.
Yeah.
Good with food.
Yeah.
Food has this long, food.
That sound just doesn't exist in my accent, I don't think.
No. And the sort of long A, you don't have that either.
No, well, I catch myself saying father, and the one this is from university, from buying coffee, I started saying Americano instead of Americano. And the one you always laugh at is when I say bra. Which now
it's objectively funny.
But I don't know if it's just because you've laughed at me for that, but it now sounds really weird to me when I say bra, and I catch myself saying bra. Not that I talk about bras a lot.
No, for goodness sake.
But yeah,
it's not that kind of show.
No, it's a family show. Yeah, so vowels, I don't think that's got a broad category, but vowels and the letter R, yeah, and also the place where this comes out most is puns or things that rhyme in one of our accents, but not
everything rhymes in English. Everything.
Yeah.
By which I mean in an English accent.
Well, what was our our most recent one was I can't remember what the context was, but I said badgies. Now, what do you think I've just said? What word do you think that was?
Like the sort of enamel things that you pin onto your clothes. They've got a slogan on them.
Yeah, no, I was going for the deep fried onion thing.
Bargies.
Yeah.
Bargies. That's a really cute thing in Scotland that you say like so something's got an ES on the end. So like for example, I'd say doses. If we're talking about like doses of the vaccine.
Whereas I'd say dozies.
Dozies. It's so cute. Nicola Sturgeon, our very own First Minister, she says dozies. And I think it's the nicest thing.
But it leads to some confusion, like the badgies, bargies thing. Yeah. Or like my recent revelation that Shaun the Sheep is a pun. But not in my accent.
Shaun the sheep, because I suppose it's a pun on you shear a sheep. It has been shorn.
Yeah.
You would say shorn.
Yeah, shorn the sheep or Shaun the sheep just doesn't work.
No.
And I'd lived my whole life not knowing that.
I know. Well, that's nice for you though to have suddenly realised the joke.
That's true. I'm always
learning.
Comes
to that in your dotage.
Yeah. I mean, I am used to getting jokes a good couple of years after everyone else, so it's only fair.
Well, what about the P words? I think that is one of just the biggest ways that you can sort of differentiate between a Southern English accent. Okay, an RP accent, let's say, because Southern English includes Cornish. An RP accent and a Scottish accent.
Yeah. So, okay, the three words meaning having not much money.
Poor.
Moving a liquid from one vessel into another.
Poor.
And an animal's little foot.
No. Poor.
Yeah, so those are all exactly the same in Europe.
Yeah, poor, and poor.
Whereas I'd say poor, and paw. Three different pronunciations in my accent.
Again.
poor, and paw. So I'm poor, I don't have much money. Sign up to our Patreon. Poor, I'm pouring a glass of wine for myself. And paw, the cat's got a sore paw.
It's just amazing.
It's remarkable, isn't it? I'm such a talented boy.